Hey, haven't done story time in a little while. Well, I got somebody that I know that watches this that likes to call it story time. So make sure you can hear me well enough with this. I've lost my other Bluetooth. Anyway, the book's called 40 Ways to Leave Average Behind. Uh, it's called Be Uncommon, but it's 40 Ways to Leave Average Behind. And it's by John Mason. Actually, not a bad book. It's a long book, but the chapters are short. So it's a pretty good read. Um, but anyway, I don't even know if I don't know if this is Bluetooth's even picking this up. It may not be. I'll listen to it here. I'll listen to it here in a little while, or here in a few minutes, and find out if it's doing it or not. Oh, before I do that. And I'm gonna get back to my story, okay? I just haven't done it. I'm trying to concentrate on other matters. Okay. Sometimes we need to see different. This is about perspectives, okay? What probably the title of this one's going to be, anyways. Probably, um, I don't know. I'll change perspectives, or I don't know. I'll come up with a title. Sometimes we need to see from a different perspective to unlock God's plan. Get perspective because the situation might look better from another angle. Change yourself by changing your perspective. Look for the look for the beautiful in unexpected places no one else sees. You'll never be what you can be if you limit your life to believing the only view that matters is yours. A shift in perspective can create a new reality. When you see things only from your perspective and refuse to be open to other points of view, you could miss what God is trying to teach you or direct you toward. A journalist once said, "The difference between a mountain and a molehill is your viewpoint." Here's the perspective God tells us to have. 2 Corinthians. Now this is all NLT. Uh, I prefer King James version, but that's not what's in the book. So here's the perspective God tells us to have. 2 Corinthians 4:17 says, "Our present troubles are small and won't last very long. Yet they produce for us a glory that vastly outweighs them and will last forever." So we don't look at the cannot we don't so we don't look at the troubles we can see now. Rather, we fix our gaze on things that cannot be seen. Things we see now will soon be gone, but the things we can't see will last forever. What messes up our lives the most is the picture in our heads of how things are supposed to be. Our perspective impacts everything. Our perspective impacts everything. Our principles and our beliefs. Wisdom is seeing life from God's point of view, says Adrian Rogers in his book, What Every Christian Ought to Know. Change your life by changing your viewpoint. You can't watch the sun rise by looking westward. Position yourself to receive all God has for you by seeing your life from His perspective. That's interesting. What if we all did do that instead of looking at it from our perspective or someone else's perspective, someone's opinion versus the facts that God has? I'm not trying to preach or nothing like that. But just, summarizing all that was just being said, everybody says, well, that's your opinion, that's your opinion. Well, what if it was what God told you? Then that means it's not an opinion. They just don't want to hear it. Just, we're all like that. We all don't want to hear, we don't always want to hear the truth. Even though God says in his word, the truth shall set you free. Well, that's not just in words. He also meant his son. So it can be taken different ways. But his son is the truth. So there you go. People want to throw around the word opinion so they don't have to see the truth. Everybody wants to say that there's gray areas in everything. No. Originally, there was never any gray there. It was black and white. Man put the gray in there to appease their wrongdoing. I mean, the wrongdoing originated from the Garden of Eden. Eve was the first, and then Adam followed her lead. And that's why the households are so screwed up right now, or have been screwed up for years. Man's supposed to be the leader in the home, according to God. Read it for yourself if you don't believe me. If you think that's just my opinion. Man was supposed to be the leader of the home and have the final say. That doesn't mean he can't look to his companion, his spouse, his wife, his woman, and see what she thinks or what she sees. But in the end, man's supposed to have the final say. And he will have to stand account for that, just like she will. But it'll all inevitably fall in his lap and be on his shoulders. But that's what's wrong with relationships, with marriages, have been for decades. There's no real men leading the home anymore, or haven't been. They're too busy believing in and trying to live happy wife equals a happy life, when it doesn't. A woman or a man can be like a child, an overgrown child. An overgrown child who hasn't gotten the proper discipline in life doesn't think they have to hear the word no. They become entitled or think they're entitled. And when you give in, you're given into a child, to a childlike person, someone with a childish mindset. And then they throw it. If you don't give in, they throw a tantrum, and they cause trouble until you give in, or they find somebody that will. And that's on either side of the fence here. That's with a man or a woman. But you'll change your life when you change your mind. And the only way you can change your mind is if you change your perspective. Don't think just what you learned in school is the only way. Don't think having don't think having a job alone is the only way that you can pay your bills, that you can feed yourself. That's a brainwashed mentality that society has created for us. I was brainwashed myself once upon a time. There are multiple ways to make money. And until you change your viewpoint on that, you'll never change anything in your life. Until you're willing to work for you and not for someone else, you're going to stay the same course and dealing with the same stuff day in and day out. You'll have somebody dictating how much you can possibly make, what you have to do to make that. Well, if they increase that responsibility or decrease it, chances are they're going to increase it for the same amount. They dictate everything about your life. Everything. You have a choice, but most people are too nervous to make that other choice because they don't have the confidence. They don't believe in themselves. But yeah, you should learn how to change your perspective. It's been said since Trump was in office, or even right after he left office, that's what started the Great Awakening for us. And the ones that were willing to wake up did. And the ones that aren't, well, they're still asleep. They're still brain dead. They're still brainwashed. They still think that they have to rely on society. God never wanted you to rely on anything but Him and your faith in Him. He wants you to be self-reliant as well, but He wants you to rely on Him for His direction. Trying to decide if there's anything else I want to add to that or not. Some of this I already had. I actually really didn't even have I wasn't planning on saying all that. Sometimes it's after reading something and sharing it that I get all these thoughts in my head, and I want to share them. It's good to share them. Maybe I'm telling you something you may not already know, or may not have thought about, or maybe you have, and you just needed reminding. Or maybe everybody has known this all along. Question is, are you woke up yet? Have you awakened? I don't mean the society woke, because that's not woke. That's brain dead, brain damage. The question you need to ask yourself, are you ready to wake up finally? Or you just want to keep the cover over your head? and say to yourself, well, if I can't see them, they can't see me. If I can't see it, it ain't real. If you want to stay asleep, that's up to you. If you want to stay, if you want to keep the wool over your eyes, that's fine. It's scary, but it's fine. That's your choice. Or you can finally wake yourself up and listen and do what you need to do. Do what God would have you to do. People have gotten crazy over the last several years. Nobody cares what they do to somebody else anymore. Everybody just walks right in, they'll walk right through you. And then they might look at you like, who are you? Am I supposed to care? Look at you like, they don't say it, they just look at you like, excuse you. People don't have any manners about themselves anymore. They don't even care about manners. You say something about it, you're the one in the wrong. They want to chase you down and cuss you out and ask you what your problem is. Well, my problem is you. If I was going to do something, I'd have done it. No. If you was going to do something, first off, you wouldn't even be talking about it. You just do it. See how I kind of got off on everything else? Not meaning to. Change your perspective. That's what this business is about. Changing your perspective. If you can if you're willing to change your perspective, you'll have growth. This is about having personal transformation. You can't make something different happen if you're not willing to accept personal transformation. In order to accept personal transformation, you have to be willing to do what needs to be done, not just sit there and complain about it. You can't say you want something more and just keep yourself on the couch. You have to get up, get active, and work on it. That's what this is about. Deprogramming and rewiring your brain from what school taught you, from what your parents possibly taught you, your grandparents, whoever your friends that you looked up to. You want to change something, you want to do something, but you want something better. Find someone who has actually done it and is actually successful, and then ask them if they will help guide you. Because if they've done it, you can learn from them because they already figured it out. They already know how to do it. That's the best mentor you could possibly ever find, someone that's already been through it. And not only have they been through it, they've learned how to duplicate it. If they can duplicate it, they can show you, and then you can duplicate it. and then you can show somebody else, and then they can duplicate it. That's what this is all about. Bringing people with us that truly want change, truly want better out of life. That takes a lot of time. Change doesn't happen overnight. You have to correct the habits that you have now and make new habits. You have to replace those bad habits, which you don't consider bad, but you will as long as you're willing to wake up and learn. You'll see your bad habits, or you'll be explained your bad habits by your mentor because they once had them and they already know what to look for. Those habits create growth over time. So, that being said, think on what I've said. I mean, really think on what I've said. I hope I get in your dreams tonight. I hope my words. Let me say that over again because I know somebody's gonna read the wrong idea into that. I hope my words get in your dreams tonight. Or I hope I get into your dreams throughout the day. Whenever that might be. I might do part 4 to my story tonight. I don't know. All depends. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, you guys take care of yourselves. Um, it's been raining. Try to stay dry. Be careful. Oh, if you want to, like or dislike the video. If you would, like or dislike it, doesn't matter to me. Put a comment in. Tell me what you think about some of these things I've been saying. I don't, you don't have to agree with me. That's fine. I've got a lot of people that don't agree with me, but I got a lot of people that agree with me. But anyway, take care and have a good one. See you on the next one.